Hello, welcome to the channel. Today I will be doing a video on my 2022 Rmax 1000 limited edition. I'm going to be putting on 4-foot nilight brand LED whips. I have the 4-seater model. I know there's videos out there of people who do the hood scoop light, like these here. I have seen the 4-foot or 2-foot or 3-foot, whatever they do whips, the colored whips, on a 2-seater Rmax. I've seen it on one from Big Pine Auto. Watched their video multiple times and I cannot figure out how to do it because they do it in the dark. They don't have the rear window in their machine. Well, I have the tinted Spike brand Lexan rear window, the removable one, but it's not a foldable. I also want to make my own mounts because obviously I'm not going to just drill through my plastic because that would ruin it. And what I am going for is kind of a sleek, bolted right to the roll cage. I'm going to try and step by step go through this, wire it in, show you where I plugged in, how I wired it, how I routed it, how I zip tied. You can do this. It's not impossible. I'm starting a video. I'm going to try this, see what happens. So bear with me. It's probably not going to be the best. I'm going to try and edit it the best I can. Hopefully everything goes smoothly. It's been a little bit of time with not a lot done. I got kind of a start on a bracket here. I was trying to make something so that this wouldn't turn as much because I realized once I pulled these bolts out that I can't get this thick bracket underneath that. So I don't know how you would get something because of the shouldered bolt, but here's what I come up with. So I'm thinking if I put 2 1/4-inch bolts in there, honestly, like I said, not a lot has happened. I've been stumped. I've been trying to do this, make this thing so that, you know, it's tight in there, but I just don't want it to do this because them 2 little bolts might not be enough to physically clamp it down, but we're gonna find out. So what I've come up with is that will work, this mount. I did kind of smash it in there while tightening these, so I don't think it's actually gonna turn. I had to take a hammer and tap this down because when I smashed that in, it bent this up, this tab here. I am gonna get around to painting these. I don't think tonight. I might do that at like a later date, but for now, or just say screw it. That's the 4-foot whip on one side. They both work. I just hooked it right to the positive ground just to test it out, and they're not that shabby. All I gotta do now is just wire this in. So if you're going to do this on the roll cage with the rear window, this will work. They're 2.5-inch long, 1/4-inch bolts, grade 8, fine thread. And I mean, it looks pretty much straight up and down. It might be leaning back a little bit, which is as easy as loosening them 2 bolts and turning the mount. I'm gonna make the other side just like that. Got that one done. That one's done. I did it so there's about 2 finger width because I figured, you know, this thing's gonna really whop around. I'm gonna run the wires now. I think you just take off like 7 bolts here. Firewall drops forward and the wires are back here somewhere. For the brake light, reverse light, that kind of jazz, I'm gonna see if I can't tie in up under the hood here. Everything should be fused, so I'm not blowing anything, whatever. I am adding LEDs on top of LED turn lights or reverse lights and brake lights right now as is. But I'm gonna figure out which relay does what for reverse lights, brake lights, and then I will show you how I wire it in. You have to take out the seats now. In order to do that, there's 4 bolts. They're on the frame. You have to pop the seat, grab the front, pop it up. There's a friction fit rubber deal. Don't pull these out, otherwise you're gonna mess with the alignment of your seat. You'll never get it, trust me. I've done that in different vehicles. But we're learning together on this. So what I'm gonna tell you right now is I don't know if I have to pull this whole tunnel. I don't know if I have to pull that passenger seat yet. I will let you know as I go. This is kind of a step-by-step as best I can. But the reason I'm pulling all this is to run the wires, not only that, but for 2, I wanna find where these wires go so that I can go up to the front, hopefully, tie it in so that when I hit the brake lights, these are tied in. Like I said, I'm gonna pull this apart best I can, step by step. Let's do this. Well, good news is you guys are watching and not doing this right now because this is a pain in the a-hole. All I need was to get this out of the way so that I can pull this up, so I can pull this up. Well, I apologize to anyone who's been watching this in hopes that I find the reverse light and the brake light up front. I cannot. So, sadly, I've chased, I don't know how many different wires. I did find all of the plugins though. And when you're pulling this apart, there is 2 hidden ones underneath here. Don't try and break these off because I almost broke that side. So there is 2 hidden ones underneath there. So I guess these really don't need to be there, I guess, but whatever. Anyways, these are your key on accessory. So I'm gonna test them just to be sure. Figure out positive, negative, make sure that it's positive, negative on this, on these little little butt connector thingies. I've got this whole side-by-side tore apart right now. I pulled the whole tunnel out. I pulled this piece out, which was kind of a cocksucker, not gonna lie to you. But what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna run 2 wires. I got a 2-wire spool here. I'm gonna run one's gonna be for brake light and one's gonna be for the reverse light. I just have to figure out what's what back here, and then I will probably tap into the wires. I wish I could have like a plug and play. I just need the reverse light and the brake light, and then I can run a 2-wire, zip tie it with it, and then I can take this, and since I've already got this all tore apart, I can just kind of snake it down through here and run that. And I will let you know what I find out, what's the easiest here. But like I said, I am going to wire in the brake lights and the reverse lights on those. All right, so I ran the wires back here. I butt spliced them in. Green is your reverse light, the 2-prong one. Green is your reverse light, power. Yellow is your ground for your reverse light. For the brake, I mean, the only one that you're gonna really need, I think your black is your ground, obviously. Your solid blue is your running light, and then the yellow with the blue stripe. That one is your brake light. So they all work still. I have yet to plug it in. I just checked to make sure it worked. So I got the wires. So all you have to do is have power to that little box to override the thing. Well, this is hooked up to power and ground. So this has to be on for it to work, which is why I'm doing it the way I'm doing it. So it's a key switch deal, which I did find all of these actually off Amazon, these $12 whatever. These things, positive is positive, ground is ground, whatever. Like it's a legit thing. So there's 5 of those, but what I don't understand is I only found 3. One is already tied into something, and there's one way back in there that's tied into something too, unless they count this one as one. I am not sure. So anyways, there is 5, but mine has got something. If yours is the limited, I'm assuming it's got stuff like that too. So what I'm going to do is, since I like to go off-roading, mud puddles, whatever, I can't just set this down below like the driver or the passenger's feet here, like up underneath the plastic. I want to mount it somehow up as high as I physically can. So what I'm going to see if I can't do is somehow zip tie this to this hose here. If the tunnel will fit around this, I'm gonna have to put the tunnel on the center console piece, put that on, and then maybe zip tie this up out of the way. But if I zip tie it here, it should be high enough. This wire, I'm unsure how I'm gonna run it yet. I think I might have to go back underneath here and then across the top of the frame, just because of the exhaust and all the hot stuff right there. Yes, I will continue to update, but as of now, I think I'm gonna run the wire, like I said, down, follow the factory brake wires. I'm gonna run that down there and then come back up. So I don't know, we're gonna figure that out. That's gonna be the fun part, but that's why we're on this adventure together. So stay tuned for more. I feel like I'm doing a cut scene deal here, but hey, for the first time video, I guess it is what it is. You get what you get. And I'm the first one to do this that I know of that's videoed it. So on a 4-seater Rmax that has a back window, and I'm showing you step by step on how I'm doing everything with wiring in the brake lights and the reverse lights in your whips. So let's see what else we can find. As for this side, now what you got to do is pretty much the same thing. Just don't tear it all apart. You really don't have to. I didn't. I just fished the wires. I took all the top bolts out. You can pry this back far enough and fish the wires down in through there. I'm right inside of this, and I just tucked it down in there for now. It's not gonna do anything. It's not gonna come out of there. It's just looped up around this piece, like I literally could fall off. I might zip tie it up there just to kind of hold it. Then it goes underneath the tube here, up through, just kind of snakes back. And then I think right here is where I'm gonna zip tie this thing. Down kind of like that, I wanna say. I have to put the tunnel back on here, the front piece. So I'm gonna run the other wires from the switch, power, do all that garbage first. Then I'm gonna hook everything back up. Well, I'm gonna put everything back together. I'm gonna start hooking up wires back here. Maybe I'll just hook everything up, make sure everything works. Then I'm gonna put the center console back on, and then I will get to where I'm gonna zip tie that up out of the way. So I'm gonna keep going at this. I wasn't quite sure how this was gonna work out. I just tied up that wire that I've been using for everything else. I did end up unplugging the control mode here, the ride mode, whatever, and I got the LED whip light switch installed. These just pop out. They're just little plugs. There's plugs, actually the same ones in the floor. So I advise if you save these, because if you lose one for the floor, at least you get a backup. There's 2 ways to wire this. You can either hook those directly to an accessory wire, or you can do the switch method, which they have a battery. Well, how I did it is kind of a combo of these two. So I wired the switch like the top way, in my eyes the right way, because when you turn that key on, it doesn't matter if you have the running lights off, you know, it can be whatever. Backlights on everything, at least in this limited edition model, they all light up. The winch, this is going to now, the drive mode, whatever, they all light up and they stay illuminated no matter if the running lights are on or whatever. As long as the key's on, they've got color to them. So I ran it so it's like that, so it looks factory. Those, I took the pigtails, I just snaked them down through there, and what I did, or what I'm going to do, is mine is going to be, so when you, and I probably said this before, when you turn the key on, that's when the power is supplied to this switch. So this switch is if I don't want them on while I'm driving, I can shut them off. And if I want them on while I'm driving, I can turn them on. And the nice part about that is those are fused. Those are up underneath. There's accessory fuses up there. So if you blow something, at least it's fused and it shouldn't burn down your machine. This electrical stuff, it gets you sometimes. I mean, it makes you really think about it. I cut all these little prongs off. I don't like running these. I don't know if you guys do. I don't. I prefer just butt splices, because if I want to disconnect it from the switch, I'm just going to unplug it from the back of the switch. Well, I got everything all wired up. I got it directly power and ground to the switch from the module. I got it hooked up right now. So this is actually dimmer than the other switches, which I really kind of like. I got it on some random mode right now. It's just red, green, and blue. You hit the brakes. It does a strobing, triple strobe, like compared to the brake light. I don't know if we can see this on video, but those just stay solid. But I kind of like it. It gets people's attention, I would say. And then if you throw this thing in reverse, I mean, you got your white LED reverse lights that kind of illuminate around you. It's cool to have the red, green, and blue and whatnot and what have yous for colors, but I'll tell you, it's even cooler when you can throw it in reverse and the machine lights up white, and it's like, hey, I didn't just wire these in to be a kid. I wired these in because I wanted function. And I can leave a link in the description for these nilight 4-foot whips if anyone would like. I probably will, just be safe. And then I can leave a link for the little pigtails I bought. But like I said, you're going to have to get some kind of wire if you want to run the reverse lights and brake lights. But I hope this kind of helps. It's kind of a cocksucker to do by yourself. But I would suggest, if you're going to do it kind of very similar to how I did, just so you don't have to tear anything more apart. Like I said, all you got to do is, you know, tear the whole machine apart, obviously. Now, just this fender, I mean, you can tear the other fender apart if you want, but you just got to pull the wires, because once I figured out how to do it, I just tapped into the one side and everything works off this one side. So, and like I said, it's all fused through the machine. That is a thing. So we're going to go with putting it back together now. I'm going to start throwing stuff back at it.